Pornography was accidentally shown to passengers on a ferry ride. A pastor claimed a woman is a witch after she called the church asking for some baby formula. And a Japanese aquarium allows the visitors to smell animal butts for education. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast recorded by a comedian inside a closet who is occasionally funny, but always educational. A ferry company had to apologize to passengers after porn was screened on the trip. Oh, these people got to see some porn on the ferry ride? Oh, all I got was a John Wick film. Sheesh, I would have gave anything for some porn. Those ferry rides are quite dull. We have here ferry company DFDS. Not sure what that stands for, and I'm not going to look it up because, you know what, it's really not pertinent to the story. What is pertinent is that the ferry company had to apologize because the children were traumatized, they claim. Children were left, quote, screaming when pornography was screened on one of its ships. Well, that sounds like a little bit of an overreaction. Screaming? Are we supposed to believe that the kids were screaming? I don't know if I believe that for 1 minute. I mean, maybe a couple were screaming, but, you know, the majority of the kids probably have already seen this stuff on their smartphone. Because in case you didn't know, many kids are watching porn on their smartphones. That's what they're doing. And if you don't believe that, you know, I got a bridge I can sell you in Brooklyn. I say that to reinforce my stance, my hot take, in that I don't think all the kids were screaming. I'm sure some adults were screaming, for sure. You know, a couple kids probably closed their eyes, I'm sure, but then the rest of them were like, oh, this is my fave. Seen this one many times. Now, the DFDS ferry company said they were, quote, very sorry for the incident, which happened late last month on board the ferry from Dieppe in France to New Haven. It said that an adult film was mistakenly broadcast on the onboard lounge television to passengers who had been watching the Formula One Grand Prix race. Wow, going from the race to pornography? That's a little strange. What sort of channel goes from the Grand Prix to hardcore porn, and how can I subscribe? According to reports, the incident was said to have taken place during a delay which saw the ferry sent back to France due to a technical fault at New Haven port. Another quote from the ferry company says, "We're so sorry for the understandable upset and anger that this caused. It will not happen again." They also added that the channel had since been removed from their list of available television stations on the boat. So Pornhub was available as one of the channels on your boat. That's an odd choice to include that on your onboard television menu. I would have never guessed that it was installed on the streaming stations for the boat. I would have assumed that this was an employee getting some revenge. You know, when management mistreats the media guy, the media guy gets revenge. Oh, you want to deny my sick leave? Well, here we go. We're getting porn for the passengers. Now, one of the passengers described the situation as, quote, a bit mad. Suddenly, kids were running out of the recliner lounge area screaming. Really? Kids were screaming because they saw some naked people getting it on a screen? I find this very hard to believe. Here's a continuation of the quote. Some parents came out and they were asking the staff to sort it out. They were saying, "There's hardcore porn on the TV." Now, I couldn't see it myself, but it was very audible. I don't know how it got on there. People were really disgruntled. Yes, I'm sure people were very traumatized. Thankfully, some of them had their emotional support ponies on the boat with them, so they're going to be okay. In times like that, you just hug your pony, and it all goes away, from what I understand. And that's the end of the article. Hopefully the kids will be okay after seeing such traumatizing footage. You know, you can't have them see naked people getting it on. That's out of the question. Give them some violence to calm them down. You know, something they can handle, something that's more easily understood is people shooting each other. Now, the one thing the article doesn't mention, in a question I had, is what pornographic movie were they showing on board the ferry? Was it Mandy Takes a Wet Cruise? Or The Sailor Boy Love Boat? 5 Sailors and a Mermaid? How about the Motorboarding Mother, Part 4? Lily's Lesbian Lifeboat? Ferry Furry Trip? Come on, guys, I'm just making these up as we go. How about All Hands on Dick? Come on, guys. You think you could do better than that? All Hands on Dick? You email me, funnyjones@gmail.com. I want to hear what you got. A Louisiana pastor says a woman has the spirit of a witch after she called the church asking for baby formula. Well, that's an odd reaction to somebody calling for help. Somebody that can't feed their baby asking for help. I need some charity. Can you help me with charity? You're possessed by demons, woman. Call an exorcist. This woman's possessed by demons asking the church for charity. What do you think this is, a charity? Yeah, you gotta love the spirit of Christianity. Yeah, not helping families in need. The churches have always called themselves sanctuaries, but, that hasn't been the case in a long time. It's strictly business, baby. Business. And they don't pay taxes. Isn't that great? I'm referring to churches in the United States. I can't speak for all churches everywhere. Maybe the churches in Europe are paying their fair share of taxes, but not here. And some of them have more money than small nations, sadly. Now, let's get the details. A Kentucky woman went viral after posting some videos in which she calls various religious institutions to see if they will help feed her starving baby. Her name is Nikali. She's been calling churches saying that she's run out of baby formula for her 2-month-old, asking if the church could help her procure some baby food. Nikali reported that a few churches responded positively, ready to aid her, despite her request actually being a test. Most of the churches refused to offer any help whatsoever, though. Now, according to Nikali, the purpose of all this was she was conducting a sort of social experiment at a time when many individuals in the U.S. are struggling to put food on the table for either themselves or for their children because of cuts to SNAP benefits. But update on that, guys. Government is no longer shut down, so the SNAP benefits should be rolling out very, very soon. Maybe. I'm not sure. Probably not. I wouldn't count on it, to be honest with you. Now, the weird title of this story stems from what occurred next when Nikali called a particular church called Living Faiths Christian Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She was informed that the church didn't have any baby formula around and no diapers or anything for babies. In her video, Nikali asked the church if they wouldn't mind helping her get some of those products, and they say, no, we can't right now, so sorry, and then hung up. Now, a Living Faith Christian Center is led by Pastor Bishop Raymond Johnson. He responded to the viral video of her calling his institution with a sermon on Sunday where he said, "The person who goes around calling churches and putting the voice of a baby crying in the background, and I say really that person is very low. So, like I teach these men over here, folk want to apologize. I don't apologize to the devil. Sometimes Christians get so weak, you forgot we supposed to rebuke evil. So if you could pretend to have a crying baby to try to call churches to trick people into things." Can anyone make any sense of what this guy's saying? I mean, I'm trying here. I read English. I speak English. I have a grasp of the English language. I don't even know what this man is saying. The quote from this maniac continues, "And I say we in the middle of feeding people, how you gonna do your little dirty deed? And it's just the spirit of a witch. It's a witch! And my Bible say he do not allow that thing to live, so you have to watch when you're fooling with God." This sounds like an insane person. Do people really show up and take in these words from this person and then, add them to their mental programming? Do people actually do that? No wonder why we're in the situation we're in. You see, at the end of the day, it's not a hardware problem. We all have amazing brains that can do amazing, miraculous things. The problem is the software. We have a software problem where people are downloading insanity like Pastor Johnson here, who acts like a time traveler. Is this 1639 and the Salem witch trials, sir? You squawking about witches? It's just insane here. In case you were wondering why Jesus befriended a prostitute and avoided the clergy, I give you this example. Also, check his hard drive while you're at it. I think there's some stuff on his hard drive. Well, that's the end of this piece. There's no conclusion that Nikali has made. She just ran the experiment, but I think we can all come to a reasonable conclusion about what's going on here and what's been going on for hundreds of years. Not helping, really, not helping. An inordinate amount of religious institutions are only interested in humans when they can somehow profit off them, sadly. Which is why I say, I'd love to live in a world where we have more witches and fewer pastors. At least a witch isn't going to pick my pocket. Might turn me into a gecko, but isn't going to, it's going to take my moolah. A Japanese aquarium lets visitors smell animal butts. Ever wondered what a hippo's butt smells like? How about the ass of an emu? Or perhaps the derriere of a Gila monster? Well, at the Atao Aquarium in Kobe, Japan, they offer an unconventional education exhibit where visitors can learn what various animal butts smell like. Animal butts, 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 butts. Everybody smell them butts, 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 butts. Sorry. Daddy's a little caffeinated. Okay, so the aquarium allows visitors to smell butts. It's amazing. Why Japan? Why Japan always has the coolest stuff? They just do. I don't understand it. Why can't we be as cool as Japan? The aquarium in Kobe is displaying framed portraits with holes. Okay, so it's not what I expected. I don't know what I expected. I'm not going to tie an animal up facing the other way and you just smell their butt. It's a photo of the animals with a hole where their butt is. And the hole releases artificially recreated animal butt scents. This is amazing. Why can't I have this in my country? A freaking butt-smelling exhibit. Who came up with this? How high do you have to be? Imagine this aquarium had a meeting. Like, we need to get more people in here. What do we do? And someone's like, how about we present the various farts of animals? You mean like a display of flatulence? Yeah, sort of like a display of flatulence. You know, you can sniff animals' butts. Well, I think it's quite brilliant. Who doesn't want to smell animal butts? It's a great way to get to know these organisms. Most people know a lot about an animal, but not how their butts smell. If I'm being honest, I don't know what most human butts smell like either. My wife won't let me get near it. Now, the article here says, we're not sure why anyone needs to learn what different animal butts smell like. What do you mean you're not sure why anybody needs to learn what animal butts smell like? It's very educational. Wouldn't you want to know what animal butts smell like? Have you ever looked at a rhino and been like, man, I'll bet that butt smells so bad. Is it the worst smelling butt? What animal do you think has the worst smelling butt on the planet? Now, I don't want to hear skunk. Get more creative. It's probably something like a bat. You know, I'm guessing something that lives in a cave. But, you know, what do I know? It could be a June bug. It's certainly not a butterfly. Butterfly butts smell like roses from what I've heard. I didn't hear that. I'm just making it up, obviously. Back to my article. It says, not sure why anyone needs to smell different animal butts, but the existence of this exhibit is pretty hilarious. The portrait's fancy art piece framing makes them even funnier. And if you're worried about hygiene, the scents are artificial. They're not really from the animal. There's not a real animal butt behind the picture. So the aquarium wants you to know that breathing this stuff in is not going to harm you in any way. If you're in Kobe looking for a fun place to take children, an aquarium never disappoints, they say. And this particular aquarium delivers an unforgettable experience thanks to this fragrant animal butt exhibit. If you're brave enough to sniff these portraits, make sure to videotape the moment so you can laugh about it later. Videotape? Who's videotaping? I don't know. I mean, I like everything else you said, but the videotaping's a little odd. Yeah. I would love to visit this sort of exhibit. I'm into weird museums, of course, as you know, and very strange exhibits like this really sound like fun. If you happen to be in Japan, anywhere near Kobe, I know I got some listeners in Japan. I mean, I highly recommend this. This has got to be a whole hell of a lot of fun. Can you imagine how much fun? In a world right now where everything feels like it's on fire and completely debilitating to the soul, just go and smell animal butts and giggle the day away.
It's okay not to be perfect with finances. Experian is your big financial friend and here to help. Did you know you can get matched with credit cards on the app? Some cards are labeled no ding decline, which means if you're not approved, they won't hurt your credit scores. Download the Experian app for free today. Applying for no ding decline cards won't hurt your credit scores if you aren't initially approved. Initial approval will result in a hard inquiry, which may impact your credit scores. Experian.
Hello, my friends. Thank you for spending some time with your buddy Jonesy and the Weird AF News podcast. We're friends of everybody. I open my arms to all listeners, and I appreciate your time. That's why I'm going to keep this outro very, very short. I do want to give a shout-out where a shout-out is necessary, and a thanks. Give thanks and praise. Give thanks and praise. Yeah, I'm going to give thanks and praise to, I'm going to butcher the name, Ekate Atakpo, who bought me coffees. Not only bought me coffees, also joined the Patreon, which is just tremendous. Now, I've had some interaction with Ekate on the gram. She is living in Japan, coincidentally, so hopefully she'll be able to visit the animal butt smell exhibit and report back to us with a video. Anyways, she's quite lovely and very supportive of the Weird AF News podcast and what I got going on over here in the closet. She wrote me a lovely note too. Thanks for reminding me, Jonesy, why being in Japan and staying here was a good decision. I wish you all well in the States. I'll be here eating all the tuna, ramen, and sushi, but damn, I could really go for a Jimmy John's Pickle Witch right now. So, hey, we need to get her a Jimmy John's Pickle Witch, I think. That'd be a good thing to do. Hey, don't call the church and ask for one of them. She goes on to say, I understand, Jonesy, what crackheads feel. I do some crazy things for an elf bar and a pickle witch right now, but I digress. Keep doing what you're doing, buddy. Thanks for uplifting me during this continental move. Seriously, you've kept me away from the US of A. Thank you, Jonesy. I never knew I could keep people away from the USA, and I don't do it intentionally. It's just I cover a lot of stories here, and it's facts. It's facts. Unfortunately, the facts make this sound like an insane asylum that we're living in the U.S. So she made the move to Japan. I think it's a good move. I'd love to live in Japan. I've visited only one time, but I was there for about 3 weeks. I spent a lot of time there, relatively speaking, and I couldn't get enough of it. So I have dreams of going back, and when I do, I'm going to be meeting up with Ekate, and we're going to get some coffee. So I'm looking forward to that. But anyway, shout out to her for being very supportive. Joining the Patreon as well. Can you imagine? She buys me coffees and then addition joins the Patreon. Anyways, you can do these very nice supportive things for me if you believe in what I'm doing here and you think I should keep the lights on, and that I shouldn't get another job during the day. You can do that by going to weirdafnews.com and buying me coffees. Just click on the Buy Me a Coffee banner or click on the Patreon. It's like buying me coffees every month. It's a subscription service, and you get additional Weird AF News content. You're wondering, what kind of content, Jonesy? Well, a lot of film recommendations. I watch a lot of weird films. I put them in there. I post some of my stand-up comedy clips in there. And today I posted the updated standings for the Weird AF News Fantasy Football League, in which I am now comfortably in 4th or 5th place. So I'm moving up the ranks here as I get my ass out of the gutter, as they say. Anyways, please support the show if you can. If you could do it with your ducats, go to weirdafnews.com. If you cannot and you still want to help out, just tell a friend about Weird AF News. I can't think of a better way to spread the word by word of mouth with people that you know, people that you love, maybe even people that you hate.